So welcome to the channel. This is my 600 mile update on the Ninja 650. We're just on our way to get it serviced at Kawasaki. I'll update you a bit more when we're there, but what we're going to do is just kind of see how we're finding the bike. Do we regret buying it? So this is my 600 mile service day. Thought it'd be a good time to do a bit of an update, how we find in the bike, what we like, what we don't like. We've done a bit of mileage on it now, so we know how it's riding, what's going on with it, any issues, anything that we're finding that is different. Just try and get round this junction. So the main things that I found with the Ninja is all of its power is very, very usable. I mentioned this in my initial review of it. All of the power sits between the 3 and the 7,000 revs really, and it really does pull in that range. It is a very torquey engine. It's set up to be used on the road. It's not a super sport 600. You haven't got to be revving this up to 10-11,000 to start to access its power range. So it's for me been a very usable bike. It's a sports bike that I've been able to use as a commuter. I was very torn between the Z650, and we're going to have a little look at that when I'm at Kawasaki later, and the Ninja 650. I didn't know which one to get, and I went with this one for the sportier look, but it is a more upright seat. It is a fairly comfortable riding position. It's not this super sport bike where the handlebars are maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 inches lower. You're bent right over and you're trying to stay comfortable whilst you're commuting on it. And the guys at Kawasaki backed that up for me really. They said that they sell a lot of these to people who are commuting. I think the best thing that I found about the Kawasaki, this bike is that its economy is really, really good. So we're running at 72.5 miles to the gallon. Obviously it's been ridden fairly sensibly because of the first 600 miles situation, but overall that's very, very good, and it's higher than I was expecting. So as a bike that's got a bit of power, as a commuter, it works very, very well. So if I look at a few of the minuses that I find about it, is as a shorter rider I do feel like my weight is a bit forward. I'm not 100% sure that is the bike's fault. That is possibly something that I'm going to have to just get used to. But because of that, on the throttle handle, so on the right hand side, there is a bit of vibration, and I do get a little bit of kind of numbness in my hand after riding this for an hour and a half. Short rides you don't notice it, but after an hour and a half you can start to get a bit of numbness, or I do anyway, in my hand, and yeah, that can be quite distracting and a bit of an issue, but like I say, that's not a short ride issue, that's a much longer ride issue. So So let's have a little look and see how much this is going to cost from, well, it's not really empty, but I've got a bit of a ride to do on it. Let's see how much it's going to cost to fill up. So from almost empty, just over £13 to fill up. I say almost empty, there was 2 bars left, but it was bouncing between the 1 and the 2 bars. Like I say, I've got a bit of a ride to the dealership, so let's just get it filled. One thing on the economy I will say is I have been using super unleaded. Haven't put anything different in the bike. So there's a potential, of course, that is playing a part in the economy. Very, very warm day today. It's the kind of day that you wish that blacked out visors weren't illegal here in the UK. Right, so I need to put a bit more mileage on this before I get where I'm going. So we're going to go a bit of the back routes way to make it a bit longer. So typically it costs about £15–16 from me getting nervous it's going to run out of fuel to fill it up, and that's with super unleaded. We're getting from that, well, we're getting 72.5 miles to the gallon, so I mean, you work that out. It's I mean, to the tank it's well over 150 miles. It's probably one of the best things about this bike is the economy that can be achieved from something that looks like a really sporty bike. And it goes, it's no slouch. Don't get me wrong, it's not going to be having that top end speed, but you know what, we have a 70 mile an hour speed limit here in the UK, like maximum on dual carriageway motorways. So you're not going to, if you like your licence, you're not going to be kind of thrashing it for sure. And the thing to really remember is, and I haven't done this test personally, but I remember watching on Yami Noob, they did a test. They had the 650, an R6 and the RS660 Aprilia, and of course both the Aprilia and the Yamaha were faster machines overall, but the whole thing was about what does fast mean, and the reality is that the Ninja 650 had the best 0 to 60. Now the problem is, if you're looking to go really fast on it, it's going to start to struggle at about 110, 120, because at 130 it's hitting its top speed and you're going to have needed to have got all your gear changes perfectly and all of that. And the other ones are likely, they're set up for much faster speeds and all of that. But the 0 to 60 on this is actually very, very good. So your acceleration within speed limits is exceptional. I mean, it was about, I'll link the video down below, but it was about 3.5 seconds. And again, that's roughly what is advertised for the bike. Again, to get the best 0 to 60s, it's going to be an element of your rider skill that comes into play. Of course it is. Your capability of changing gears quickly and smoothly. But I think this is why the Ninja is so popular. It really is such a usable road sports bike. It's a comfortable riding position. It's got usable power and torque. I mean, here we go. Let's just hang back from this van a bit. Yeah. Drop it to third. We're doing 30. Yeah, nothing. Absolutely takes nothing to get up to the speed limit. It's got such good power. I don't regret buying this at all. Now the problem I do have is there's so many bikes I like, and I've already got my eye on the Yamaha R7. I really like the Aprilia RS660, just by the looks of it. I haven't even ridden it. And I really like the MT10. Now I sat on the MT10 at the MCN show at the East of England Showground a week or so ago, and it really is such a nice looking bike. If you like naked bikes and you like litre naked bikes, you like real powerful naked bikes, that MT10, wow, that is a bike. So my overall review after what is going to be just over 600 miles is gears change smoothly. I've had no problems with the gears. I kept having issues with the Suzuki 125, the GSX S125 I had. They said it was me. I was convinced it was the bike, but I did have issues, especially getting it to go into first gear without shutting the engine off. There was a few issues there. Had no issues with the gears. They changed smoothly, even with my kind of novice changing. The handling of the bike, it's light enough. It's light enough to kind of flick into the corners, and I'm getting more and more confidence in doing that. The TFT is fantastic. Now this has left, in all honesty, several competitors behind, in my opinion, because it really is a fantastic piece of kit. It doesn't matter if the sun is right behind me, right in front of me, coming at it at the side, you can read this TFT, and it's great. It's got all the information you need laid out in a really usable way. So I can see the revs, I can see the speed very easily. All the other information I might want, like time and all of that, is on there. Yeah, mileage, and there's a lot of kind of usability of it that I haven't quite got to grips with yet. Having read the manual, a lot of kind of functionality that I need to start to use so I can benefit from it. But there's a real kind of almost a computer on your dashboard here, and the most important thing is you can see it. We're in 2021, you know, we're not kind of having LCD screens anymore, and it worries me that some manufacturers still haven't upgraded to this kind of technology on their bikes because they can't keep the price down. So I know for a fact that is a massive kind of gripe and the biggest concern about the 2021 Yamaha MT-07. Why didn't it have a TFT? So a bit of miss really going over all these speed bumps and bumps in the road, not to kind of talk about the suspension on the bike. Overall, and I haven't touched it since it came out of the showroom, so I haven't stiffened it, I haven't lowered it or anything like that. So we are looking at a kind of factory setting on this. It's good, it's not too firm, it's not too soft, it hasn't got you bouncing all over the place when you hit things, it's not trying to throw you off if you hit a bump. Obviously the first 600 miles of the brakes and the tyres, you're kind of running those in, you need to be a bit careful, but I've had a few situations where I've needed to really use the brakes and they've stood up, they've stopped the bike quickly. It gives you confidence, you know, gives you confidence that if you get yourself in a situation that an emergency stop's needed because someone's pulled out in front of you, someone's walked out in front of you, that the bike's going to stop. Now I haven't had any kind of ridiculously scary situations on it yet. I haven't dropped it. This was my concern. The bike has not been dropped. We have been very close, at least twice. So I think the closest was actually last week on the commute to work, and I had to stop quite quickly because it was my right of way, but someone decided no, they're going to go, so I had to kind of stop my turn as I just pulled away, and then I was at a bit of a funny angle to pull away and get round the corner I needed to get round, and I stalled it, and that angle made the bike go down towards my right, and I was able to get my foot down absolutely fine, there's no issues there, and thankfully this bike doesn't seem too heavy to cause me any problems if it goes like that. Now it's not to say I'm going to be able to hold it every time, but it's not a 250 kilo bike, so I was able to hold it. And then you can hold it, of course, that's half the problem, but if you're at a 45 degree angle with it, you've then got to have the strength to get that back up to vertical. Now that's going to vary individual to individual, your height and the angles at which you're trying to do that. I fortunately was able to, so yeah, I haven't dropped the bike at all. So it's still in pristine condition. I've washed it several times, and we'll have something to talk about with regards washing and valeting bikes in a short while time. I've got some exciting news about that we'll share later on the channel, especially for our UK viewers. So as I just make my way through here, if this is your first time watching my channel, it's a fairly new channel, so I'd really appreciate your support. If you could like this video, if you're considering buying a Ninja and this kind of review's been helpful to you. Subscribe to the channel, it's this kind of content all the time. Lots of reviews, lots of information about how, particularly the Ninja at the moment, because that's my bike, is riding, how I'm finding it, but also other bikes as I get the test drives and the reviews. So I'd really appreciate your support. And if you've got a Kawasaki Ninja 650 or you're considering getting one, leave me a comment down below. Let me know why you're considering it, what it is that appeals to you, and if you have got one, whether you regret buying it or whether you really like it. Be really interested to hear what your thoughts are. Now, as you would have seen from a couple of the other videos I've done, I have upgraded this bike to the performance model, so it does have the Kawasaki exhaust, has got the tinted screen at the front, we've got the tank pad, it's got the pillion seat removed, and the other modification I had is it's actually got one of the training school seats on it, which are a couple of centimetres lower, and therefore a little bit firmer than the ordinary seat, but not enough to make it uncomfortable, that's for sure. So I think you can see, just riding along with me, I'm not thrashing this. I mean, I could probably overtake this person in front. Yeah, they're doing 55. I mean, you'd have to break the speed limit to do it. I'm not someone who's thrashing motorbikes around. Don't get me wrong. I would like to see how fast this bike can go. But one of the most important things to me is keeping my driving licence, because I don't know how other countries work, but if you lose your licence, excuse me, if you lose your licence on a bike, you lose your licence to drive a car. Bloody van trying to overtake me. So I mean, you can see the acceleration there, just to get around the car, get up to speed limit. What a beautiful morning. This is the kind of weather I like being out on the bike on. Can get a bit warm in your gear though. So, what is quite relevant is obviously we're going along now at about 70 mile an hour, okay? We're on what would be a very typical road here in the UK, dual carriageway, and the way that it's built, and the substance that's used to create the road, yeah? So it's not overly bumpy, but there's grip on it. There is a bit of vibration through the handlebars. And over time, yeah, I mean, it's there, you can feel it. It's not something that isn't noticeable. And over time of doing that, half an hour or so, it does make your hands go a bit numb. And the harder you squeeze the handlebars, the more prevalent the vibrations become. I guess the problem I've got is I don't know whether that's something that all motorbikes are going to have, and what I'm feeling is lower on the scale or higher on the scale. I haven't ridden enough bikes to compare it at the moment, and enough bikes for long enough. I will say I didn't notice it when I was doing 70 mile an hour on the MT-07, but then if I'm honest, I wasn't really looking for it. And if I'm honest, I wasn't really looking for it on the MT-07 and was concentrating on not making any mistakes, and obviously I'm a bit more comfortable with what I need to be doing for that now I've passed my test. So I wasn't really trying to assess the bike, I was just trying to get through my direct access and my Mod 1 and Mod 2. So it'd be interesting if I can get back on that and see what the situation is, for sure. But yeah, it's definitely there. The higher the speeds, about this 60 to 70, there is that vibration there. But the bike holds these speeds easily. It'll accelerate well through these speeds. You can feel it. Yeah, brakes work really well. Down the gears. That's what I love about being on the bike, being able to nip out in gaps that you just wouldn't get out in your car. So just heading away from the dealership now, had the service done, took about an hour and a half. One of the things I really like about Kawasaki, especially here in Norwich, is that they do provide a very, very good kind of customer service within the dealership. C-Star are absolutely excellent. They'll always kind of talk to you, coffee for free, all of that kind of stuff while you're in there. Just had the bike serviced, obviously, and they informed me there might be a bit of an oil smell. It's not leaking. They have the issue that when they take the filter off on these Ninja 650s, some of the oil does get into the exhaust. There's no way of avoiding it, so there might be a bit of an oil smell for a short period of time whilst that kind of burns off. So this has been my review. Had the bike for 600 miles, I've done that in about 3 months. Weather hasn't been brilliant here in the UK, work's been busy, been using it for commuting, pleasure rides, going out just for a ride in the evenings over the summer. Haven't got out in any groups or anything like that yet. Not too sure on whether I want to do that at this stage. But yes, overall, I would give this bike, if we were rating it out of 10, I would put this at about 8.5, 9 on what I would want. So, price, its kind of performance, how comfortable it is, and I'm hoping that over the coming weeks we can get some test rides in and compare it to some bikes. However, I'd be really interested to know how people who haven't had their motorbike license for very long find booking in test rides, because there are so many caveats and, how can I put this, so many kind of loops and hoops that you have to jump through if you haven't had your license for a year, or I imagine if you're fairly young as well. So the issue that I've had is I was going to ride one out with Kawasaki this morning, but that involved someone having to come with me because I hadn't had a license for a year. They also have a you bin it, you buy it policy, so if it's your fault, you are buying it, whether you like it or not, and you're signing to that before you take it out. I'm seeing more and more of this. I've seen a BMW dealership, motor rad in Norwich. They're saying that I'd have to pay £15 if I bought the bike. They'd knock that off the price, but they're not doing it without a cost towards the insurance. So there's some challenges to doing these reviews and these ride-on reviews at the moment. So we're going to see how that plans out, see how the channel kind of pads out. But overall, this Ninja 650, I'd go 8.5 out of 10. Till next time, guys, make sure to remember to subscribe. Really need your support to grow this channel. The more subscribers I've got, the more views we're getting, the easier it's going to be to convince these dealers to let me take some bikes out. Like this video, share it with anyone who's got a Ninja, thinking of getting a Ninja, and until next time, I'll see you then.